Alright guys, welcome to our first out of 6 videos on the UnScared weightlifting home workouts. We're going to have 6 workouts that all have their own focus in terms of the snatch, clean and jerk. Every single workout has a warm-up where I'm going to put Marloes through a series of exercises to prepare for the actual drills and variations that come afterwards. For today, what we're starting with is joint circles. So what we're going to do, we're just going to do wrist circles first, 15 times in one direction, followed by 15 times in the other direction. The whole point, all these joint circles, is simply to make sure that all the joints are warm, you're maintaining mobility, and so on. So it's 15 in one direction, 15 in the other, before she moves on to the elbow circles. Alright, so for the elbow circles, you basically try to make circles, even though it's strictly not a circle. And we're basically moving our way, 15 in, 15 out, we're moving our way from wrist to elbow, and after that we're going to look at shoulders and shoulder blades. So you guys can obviously just join in with the warm-up in this case. Then we're going to move on to shoulder blades. So you're basically throwing your hands alternating over and under each other, making big strides to the back as well, so the upper back gets nice and warm. You move your shoulder blades around. You're going to do that around 15 to 20 times. Try to get a bit of a stretch wherever possible, front, back of the shoulders and so on. Then she's going to alternate up and down. So that's counter movement. Try to keep your chest down a little bit. So what you will see here is she will not excessively lean back. She's fairly straight with her body. That's something you want to maintain throughout the movement. And again, 15 to 20 total movements. Make sure you find a little bit of stretch around the shoulder area here and there. All right, the next one is we're going to do hip circles. So you get your hands on your hips. You're going to make the biggest circle you can possibly make. Again, try to find some stretch here and there. It's good for both hips and lower back in this case. 10 in one direction, 10 in the other. Try not to move super fast. Just do nice and controlled like Marloes is doing. Alright, now assume everyone has a stick. So what Marloes is going to do after these is she's going to grab a stick. For balance, you can also lean against the wall. You can put it on the floor with the stick. And she's going to go forward and backward. A few hip swings. 10 forward and backward. So forward and backward makes 1 repetition. She's going to do that on each side for 10 repetitions. You want to hold on to the wall or a chair or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure you get a nice big range of motion. Again, the back stays relatively straight. It is completely fine to bend a little bit. Bend forward, bend backward, that's okay. Just don't do anything excessive. And after that, she's going to go sideways in front, both her right and her front leg. She's going to make basically the same movement, only now sideways. 10 repetitions on each side. Once she's done that, she's going to do knee circles, 10 in every direction. For those who feel this is a nice way to warm up, because it's relatively easy, it's not super intense, this is something you could do every single day just to maintain mobility and overall, feeling of the body. Not feeling stiff all day. So for the knee circles, it's really just this. You bend your knees a little bit and you twist them around 10 times in one direction, 10 in the other. Try not to put too much pressure forward if you have achy knees, but for those with healthy knees, it should be 100% okay. Otherwise, just bend a bit less deep. Once you've done your knee circles in both directions, you're going to ankle circles. You're going to do 10 in each direction on each. A lot of people have stiff ankles, so this is a great thing to do daily for a lot of people. So again, if you lack inspiration for warming up in general or for moving around throughout the day when you're sitting at home, go through the whole joint circle series a few times a day, and hopefully it'll make you feel a lot better. Once she has done 10 circles in each direction on each leg, she's going to move on to the best stretch in the world. I didn't make that name up, sorry for that, but that's how they call it. She's going to get in a very deep lunge. She's going to lean all the way down. We're going to do a dynamic version. She's going to lift up one hand to overhead, put it back down, and then go to the other one. And that's basically it. She holds it for just a split second. You don't have to stretch super long. Just make sure it's controlled. So basically what you want to have is a lot of stretch around the hips, and at the same time she's trying to use the middle back and the shoulder blades and the shoulder all together. Roughly 10 reps, so that's 5 per side, it's 10 alternating. Before she switches positions, same principle, bend through the hip, and then you do another 10, maybe up to 15 alternating reps. Don't be afraid to do a few extra reps. I just gave you guys some guidelines just so you can join in here. But if you feel like, hey, some joint feels stiff, you want to do some extra repetitions on one or two of the variations, just press pause and do some extra reps, all right? All right, that was a nice and relaxing warm-up. That's it so far for the first part, just to get the joints nice and moving, nothing too fancy. For the next part, we're going to start with a bunch of progressions. So if you did not grab a stick yet, or a broomstick, whatever, make sure you get your dowel or whatever you have now so we can go into the next part. All right, for the next part of the workout, we're going to focus on a bunch of snatch drills. And first we're going to focus on what happens off the floor. So Marloes here is going to go in the starting position. I want you guys to grab your stick or your dowel, get into the same position. She's balanced on the middle of the foot. Her knees are out in line with the toes. You see the arms pretty straight down, straight back. That's what I want you guys to do as well. From there you're going to do 10 repetitions slowly up to the knee and back down. Try to mimic what she is doing. Take note of how her hips and her shoulders rise at roughly the same time. It's not a stripper move. She's not leaning back. She's trying to make basically like an awkward squat where you lean forward. That's kind of what she's doing. So join her for 10 repetitions. Basically from what would be your starting position to roughly up to the knee. All right. The next step, you're basically going to do the same, but you're going to add in a little part. So again, I want you guys to join in straight away. What we're going to do is a snatch deadlift to knee to power position. So there's going to be 2 pauses in there. She's going to go back into the starting position. She's going up to the knee. Only now she's going to get up into the power position. Knees are still bent. Goes back down. Her back is still straight. All right. So we're kind of exaggerating the over the bar thingy here. That's fine because that's what you guys need to do more of. She's still on the whole foot, properly balanced. Knees stay out. And she gets up. So awkward squat to the knee. And then get up in the power position. 10 repetitions. Try to feel the balance throughout the foot the whole time. Not on your toes, not on your heels, the whole foot. All right, very good. After 10 repetitions of this, we're moving on to the third exercise that we're going to combine, and that is the slow snatch pull to hold on flat feet. Don't worry too much about the name. Marloes is going to do a snatch pull, but she keeps her whole foot on the floor, and she pauses in the shrug. Hold, and back down. And she's going to do that 10 repetitions. Basically what she's doing is she's standing up in a controlled manner, and she's shrugging at the end, holding that for a bit. When you're in that shrug, feel that you're still on the middle of the foot, feel that you actually shrug, and feel that your legs are straight. For most people, it's very important to feel that the legs are actually straight, that you're not being wobbly. I want to see this tight for 10 repetitions. All right, good. So what I need you guys to do is to press pause and then do all these 3 exercises. You will see them on the screen. 10 repetitions of each so you get some extra practice before you go into the next stage. So press pause. And next up, we're going to go into 2 variations of what we did before. The snatch pull to hold. Only this time, her heels are going to come off the floor. So now she needs to balance properly. So 10 repetitions of a snatch pull, and you see every single time when she comes up, she's properly balanced, she pushes the ball of the foot into the floor, right? She's not going onto the toes, she's going onto the ball of the foot, straight back, shoulders nice, and back the whole time. Awesome, so everything you've been practicing before needs to come back in this variation. You do this for 10 repetitions. Try to be super consistent about it. Every single rep should be the same and be awesome, obviously. Once you have done that for 10 repetitions, then you move on to the snatch high pull to hold. So for a snatch high pull, she does the exact same thing, only now she brings the bar to the lower chest. Again, join in guys. Yep. you try to bring it to roughly lower chest. Don't pull it all the way up to your throat. Also don't pull it up to your stomach, that's not high enough. You want to have it all the way to lower rib cage. See how close the bar is to her body. She's constantly either touching it or keeping it super close to the body the whole time. You're going to do that for 10 repetitions as well. If your legs are burning just about now, awesome. That means you're using the right muscles here. Great. Nice. So for this same thing, you're going to do 10 repetitions each. So again, you guys are going to press pause, and just to help you guys out, we'll make sure the exercises are named. Do 10 repetitions of each. And then we're going to go on further with the next segment of the snatch drills, and we're going to have a slightly different focus point. Alright guys, so for the next part we're going to have a slightly different focus. We're not going to focus too much on the portion of the floor anymore. We're going to focus more on what happens here and actually getting under the bar. So the next thing she's going to do is 10 muscle snatches where she ends on the toes. Don't be super fast with this, make it a controlled movement. She's going to make a muscle snatch. Yeah, and I want her to see her go all the way onto the toes and hold on the toes. Exactly. And every time she goes up, she stays on the toes for a bit. You saw her going forward, that means she's going too fast. She needs to stay balanced on the ball of the foot. So don't rush this movement. Feel the balance on your feet. Feel that the bar is close to you. Feel that you are actively guiding the bar to where it needs to be. And you will see that the bar has a fairly straight line upwards. She's not throwing the stick out in front because then she would be falling over. She's going to do it for 10 repetitions. After that, she's going to do another 10 muscle snatches, but this time she's going to put her feet down. So she's going to do the same movement as before, but instead of waiting on her toes, yeah, that's the previous one, and now she's going to put her feet straight down. Exactly, just like you would do a normal muscle snatch. Yes, so she extends and she steps straight down. And the whole time she needs to be consistent with placing the bar. Don't throw the stick out, keep it close to your body. I should be able to stand super close to her. I'm not going to try to get too close, 1.5 meters. Don't want to be too close to her the whole time. But even if I stood right in front of her, she should be able to do this. Right? After 10 repetitions of the regular muscle snatch, you're going to move into the paused overhead squat. So she's going to get the weight overhead. She's going to squat down. Sit still for a second and come back up and do 10 repetitions of this. So for you guys, if you're joining in with this and you know you have issues with the overhead squat, you can just go a bit less deep if necessary, but I want to see super tight movement. I want to see that stick over the middle of the feet. I want to see knees in line with the toes. If you go too deep and you suddenly have a stick forward or your knees collapsing or you're getting on your toes, it's going to be an ugly rep. Don't do it. I want to see tight movement every single time. That means squatting less deep? Sure. Alright. Once you have done that, what I want you guys to do is, if necessary, take a short break, but press pause and do the same thing again. After that, you can move into the next variation. We're going to focus on pulling yourself under the bar with a tall power snatch. So basically what she does, she stands up straight, no knee bend, whatever. She pulls the bar up to her chest and boom. That's it. She pulls it up to her chest, boom. So all you're doing is pull the bar up and lock. And as you can see, she's catching it quite high. She can sit all the way down, but she doesn't. It's a power snatch. All she's focusing now is on properly controlling the bar close to the body. After 10 reps of this, she's going to do another 10 repetitions, but now she's going to catch it a bit deeper. So right now she's going to catch it super high, and then for 10 repetitions, she's going to go deeper. The movement is the same. She's still not all the way down, but she's going to be deeper than before. So you'll have to play around with this a bit, because for some people it's a bit hard to feel like, hey, how deep should I go? Well, basically what we're doing is 10 reps where you go high, 10 reps what she's doing now. She's still above parallel, but she's pretty deep. And after that, she's going to do 10 repetitions with moving her feet into the bottom position. And 10 of those. That's a full tall snatch. She's bringing the bar up to her chest and suddenly, boom, she explodes into the bottom position. Beautiful. You can see her speed under the bar. She actually initiates the lift very slowly. She controls the bar up and suddenly she teleports down and she locks into a super solid overhead squat. That is exactly what we need to see. right? Once you have done that for 10 repetitions, just like before, same story, you guys press pause. You will see the exercises again. You will do 10 repetitions of each of the tall snatch variations. You need to get a proper feel of where am I in space. Am I very high? Am I all the way down? Am I anywhere in between? You guys need to control that and be super, super consistent with pulling through on that bar, regardless of where you're actually going to catch the bar. We're going to move on to the last segment of this whole thing. 3 muscle snatches and 3 power snatches. So for the first 3 repetitions off the floor, 3 muscle snatches. So she's making a long pull and she's standing up for 3 repetitions. And then she's going to combine this with a power snatch. Very good. So she's still pulling the bar up, only now she's actually going under the bar. And that's it. So 3 muscle snatches, 3 power snatches. If you guys are still feeling fine, awesome, then all I want you guys to do is to simply do a few rounds of this, at least 3, rest in between as needed. If not, you're just going to keep moving. But at the very least do 3 rounds, but you could do up to maybe 6 or 7 rounds if you're still not bored with it. But again, no matter how many repetitions you do, it only counts as only useful if you're actually consistent and super tight and focused with your movement. If you're half-assing it, you're wasting your time or even teaching yourself bad technique. So everything you're doing here, control and consistency. So good luck with this, guys. On to the next video.